Hi, friends. Welcome to something I just thought of. Um, I just did an update video. You'll probably see it if you do want to watch that kind of thing. It will be airing alongside this on the 28th, likely if I can get them uploaded in time. They kind of take a while because they're super long usually and bigger file sizes, and my internet don't handle it well. Um, but I had an idea. I'd even talked a little bit about it in my update video, but um, this one might catch your eye a little different because it's not going to be look my another update video or anything like that. So my idea was um, I've always wanted to do stuff in video games, no matter what. I just want my career in it, no matter I don't care what it is. It could be watching people play video games. Just kidding. I'm not gonna become one of those React channels or anything where it's just I'm gonna watch you play something else. That doesn't work. So my idea for the time being is a couple of idea videos that may come out, and these are the kind I would actually probably produce. Oh, my nose, it waited until now. These are the kind of videos I would produce probably sufficiently often. Because gaming stuff is nice, but I don't think I react well enough in games to be entertaining. So, for some of you guys that kind of like my more informational video types, other than the outright, uh, other than the outright kind of gaming content that you're about to witness come out, the freeform stuff that I do with my friends, where I'm not really structuring it at all. I'm just kind of showing you what me and my friends are playing. I'm gonna have potentially in the upcoming months two video types. One's gonna be way prevalent. The other one's gonna be a possibility. I'll start with the possibility one because it's I think it's cool. Some people may enjoy the concept of it. First off, a little fun fact about me. If I ever get big, and some of you know this, maybe it'll be common knowledge by that point or something. But uh, first dream job, like number uno on list kind of thing, is voice acting. I don't know if you've detected it, but I like doing voices. Um, I think I'm also not half bad at them. I can't sing for the life of me, but I could do a ton of voices to an extent. Not even just character voices, but just fun, different things. Big orc man, big orc, what's going on? Kind of stuff like that. And so I would love to do that. If I could, I would. And I just need to put myself into it. It's not a thing of oh my god, I've tried for years and every single day I put something out and I'm just not getting the luck of it. No, nothing like that. If it was, I'd be super proud of myself for one, but it's not. It's just I for a long time I was like, I'm afraid of sounding silly. That's the point of voice acting, is for you to sound silly. Um so I just gotta put myself into it. But that's kind of on the back burner kind of thing. Um there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and unfortunately, unless I could get a deal where this one voice acting gig paid me my salary for the whole year or something, there's no way I could just do it all of a sudden. It's gonna be after something that goes over time. Um, Second dream job on the list, and this is the one I'm gonna probably pursue, as it likely gets me into the field no matter what, is audio engineering. I may have talked about it in Dead Space. I probably didn't because I was so new, because it was my first series I've ever done on the channel. Um, I love audio. I love it, love it, love it. To me, audio happens to be probably one of the most prevalent parts of a video game that makes it or breaks it. So if you have fantastic audio, fantastic atmospheric audio, or fantastic voice acting, or terrible, terrible voice acting, that's what makes or breaks a video game to me. Uh, to me, even bad voice acting can make a game actually, because it just silly as hell. It people love it because they laugh so hard at it. Think of like the Sonic, like Heroes and Sonic stuff. Uh, Most of it does have pretty good voice act. Like a couple of them have pretty good voice acting, but the ones that have awful voice acting tend to hold in people's hearts pretty well too, because of just people just laugh at it every time. Um, so the what I why I bring up audio engineering is because I'm going to try to produce a game this year, this coming year, 2023. I've been meaning to forever. Me and my friends have talked about it forever. We're all big game nerds, so we've been talking about making a video game together. Um, I don't have the knowledge or expertise at the moment to help produce anything. They got way more knowledge and stuff than I do. Um, but we just haven't sat down and put our nose to the grindstone kind of thing to produce something. Uh, so I'm going to, this is kind of like a personal project thing for me. I'm going to try to produce a video game this year. I don't know about the visuals of it. I know I kind of want there to be a form of visuals, but the main thing of it is going to be a audio experience kind of video game. It's not going to be anything crazy. Um, it may have been done before and I just haven't found the game. Like maybe it just hasn't gone super high enough to go on everyone's radar to where I might hear about it or anything like that. I try to keep up with video game stuff, but I'm not everywhere, of course. But I'm going to try to produce a video game, so I may post a couple of videos this year. Um, if I get really into it, if I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna do it, kind of thing. Then I will produce it. Like I'll produce videos constantly for it, like kind of these cool developer-esque style videos. I think the one that's a possible one. I really have to push myself. If you leave really kind comments, that would be a wonderful motivator to me, I think. But I'm not telling you to comment or anything, please. Just if you think it's a cool idea, then please just tell me, because then that would really like train me there that way. Um, the other video type, the one that I know I can probably pump out, is one where you're gonna really be getting used to this screen. Just this box, me, my stuff behind me, my nerd stuff. I gotta kind of adjust these over here, these Lego sets. Um, Eventually, at some point, I'll put something that's a little more apt up there. But for now, these Lego, they're nerdy. Lego sets are nerdy. I just love them though. Um, these kind of videos are going to be me doing audio or video reviews. I know you probably see them everywhere online, but video reviews of video games. Oh my god, I'm a genius. Original. I know. I swear. No. There's hundreds of millions of these video types on YouTube, probably. I don't think I'm anything special about video games. My thing that I think helps me a little bit in this category is I just play everything except sport games. I'm sorry, those who love sports games. Um, I used to play racing games, which are kind of ish sports games, but uh, I don't play sports games. Sorry. I don't play FIFA or Madden or any of those kind of games. I know about them enough, but I just not in sports. I'm sorry. Um, so I'm gonna try to produce these. I'll do the wildest range of video games. I promise. Um, for now, I don't have the ability to produce things like crazy graphics or like demonstrating like here's a clip of the game and like why I like about this part of the clip or this I don't like about this part of the clip. Nothing like that. Not yet, I should say. Maybe if I get this going pretty solid, I can learn it and produce it for you. But um or, a cool type, I would love to commentate over games. I think that's the word, commentate. Yes. Um, you know, anyone wants to reach out and they like kind of want their game commentated over, I would dig it. It'd be cool for me. But for now, I'm going to be doing a few types. I'm going to do one video per game. That way I can thoroughly talk about it. No, I love to talk. Half my stuff right here. Um, the first one, I was thinking of Dead Space because, I got tattooed Dead Space. I love Dead Space. I'm going to probably talk about Dead Space for hour when I get to it. But for now, because I realize all of you watch my um Command and Conquer stuff, I'm going to start there instead. Particularly with Command and Conquer 3, Tiberium Wars, and its expansion, Kane's Wrath. Um, Many of you also know what I feel about 4. I will be probably doing a video on that one. It's not going to be a happy one because it's one of the few games I've ever played where I am to the core disappointed. So you'll see. You'll see when that day comes. So Command and Conquer 3, Tiberium Wars, and Kane's Wrath. Let's start with, of course, Tiberium Wars since it's the base game. Um, this was a game I played when I was like 9, I think. Um, from my memory, my brother may tell me I'm wrong about this kind of thing, but from my memory, my brother had it, told me to play it when I was a kid, thinking in my head, I thought he was going to be like, haha, he's going to hate it or something. Because when I was a kid, I played the standard kid games that kids aren't supposed to play, like GTA and COD Zombies and such, and COD in general. But no, he showed it to me. I started playing it. I fell in love with that game. It is, in my opinion, a masterpiece when it comes to RTSs. I know that word gets thrown around a fair bit. To me, myself, and hopefully a lot of you, since you come back and watch it so often, it is a masterpiece in my opinion. It's a game that presents that fits its genre perfectly, that deploys itself perfectly, and I think just offers a lot of interest, a lot of fun, and most importantly, just shows you what RTSs can be, in my opinion, as well. Um, the campaign is pretty lengthy, I want to say. You get like I think 12 missions, roughly per faction for Nod and GDI. You get like 6, I think, or something, 6 or 8 for Scrin by the end of Tiberium Wars. So right there, you got roughly about 30-ish, almost 30, yeah, 30, about 30-ish uh, missions to play with. And then you do have also skirmishes, you have things like that. You can mod the game a lot. But I'll mainly talk about campaign stuff. I'll try for no spoilers. It probably won't be hard since I'm just going to be talking mainly about the game, but the no spoilers for now, I believe. I'll talk about GDI first. GDI in that one was the first one I played because it offers it to you first. It recommends you playing it first. I think it is the better thing to start with, GDI, but they are super intriguing. They're meant to be the good guys of the game. They're like, oh my god, we're protecting these blue zones. Blue zones being the nice, healthy parts of the planet not affected by Tiberium. These blue zones need to be protected. Like kind of the most of the good people are there. Now, that's where Tiberium Wars actually brings in an incredible message you don't expect an RTS game to be bringing in. You almost expect it like maybe Call of Duty, if it's trying to be more story-ish, then they might do it. But no, this game brought in like who gets to really tell people who to exclude from perfect zones because you're like, oh, you guys, you stay in the yellow zones or stay in the red zones even. Um, and that kind of brings up the question: is like, is it morally correct for them to do that? Is it morally correct for them to like kick people out and just let only certain people be in blue zones? It's kind of a very classist kind of story to tell. If you do play GDI, it does kind of reinforce that blue zones are protected and we're protecting it, and we're going to do as best as we can to keep you people safe from whatever off what is in the yellow zones or red zones. Yellow being habitable but terrible, and red being just awful completely. Um, but GDI does offer some really cool things to it, and I'll begin by talking about a few things. First off, its design is pretty solid. It's about what you expect, like high military kind of structural, like hardy kind of guys. These are the people that defense is kind of key for them. They're designed to protect. They're pretty much big shields where they go. You got so many units that fit kind of the basic military design feel to them. You got pit bulls, little rocket cars. You got APCs, which are transporting troops. Mammoth tanks, which are these massive statues of just GDI's impressiveness. You do go throughout the story realizing that GDI is not perfect at all. There's definitely some corruption in the higher ranks, and that's kind of what you end up dealing with throughout the story. They offer a lot of good zones. Now there's one thing I'm going to talk about here, and for many of you, I can't remember the mission name super off the bat on my head right now. But it is, I think, in the second or third act. I think second act. But I got to a mission when I was younger. It's the one where you hold out. You have certain base defenses that must be powered on, powered off, depending on what you're doing. You could try to use units as defenses, which is the smart thing to do. But you gotta wait for reinforcements, build up a base, and then take over the area. Like, take out any of the opposing forces in the area. I sucked at it bad when I was a kid. I 10, 15 failures of that mission. And I was like, I'm so proud of myself for at least not being like, I hate this game. I'm gonna go play something else and never touch it again. My first thought process was, I'm gonna go play Nod instead. If you get to that point in the game, if you watch this review first, thank you. Don't know how you got here, but thank you. Second of all, if you get to that mission, stick it out. It's pretty tough. Some people do recommend taking over an enemy base to kind of mitigate some of it. Like, put a lot of forces towards one base, kind of help defend while you're doing that. Take over the base, and then it's a fair bit easier at that point. I think that's end up how I beat it the very first time, was doing it that method. I looked up a thing for it and everything. Just hold out. GDI is still, I think, if you take out what it's trying to be, what the game is trying to present to it, like in a authoritarians thing, they're wonderful to play as. They got some really cool units, some super structures I love, defenses that are crazy and interesting, but they can be not for everyone, in my opinion. Maybe I'll do little videos on each of these guys. I think they're so cool, and I probably can talk about them for a while. And I'll try to get like like images and such. But I'm too kind of afraid for copyright purposes to do that. But for now, GDI, just think of them big, strong walls that protect these like perfect zones in a way. The What I did do after that mission, and here's going into the second faction that you play as, is Nod in this game. I think Nod is way cooler than GDI. And that's kind of the bad thing. They're presented to be the bad guys, almost fanatics, in almost like a religious kind of way. They're designed to be like, they have a prophet, and they have like these kind of ideologies about how Tiberium, this crystal that taken over the planet to an extent, should have been used rather than exterminated. It shouldn't be gotten rid of. It's how we should proceed. And even GDI uses it to like a pretty solid extent, to the point of like, hold on a second. So sorry. Let's get that little tickle, the like throat kind of thing. But Nod does believe that Tiberium's kind of the next evolution of humanity, processing it energy, which granted, because it has this ability to create energy, it almost does feel like you should be using it. It's not something that should just be gotten rid of or anything like that. It regenerates over time. You even see it in blue zones where it's taped off and everything. It's like gated off. People are still using it for an energy source. It does get you thinking a little bit about the fact that maybe Nod has something right, at least in the energy format of it. Otherwise, how they go about it is absolutely morally wrong because they pretty much they recruit really downtrodden people because in the zones they partake in a lot is the yellows and reds. They it's understandable that people are going to go to these like this kind of more powerful force that protects and shows them that there's a way to not be in these terrible zones again. Um, I do think personally, if they had combined efforts off the bat, which they do in a different game that I'll talk about later, then maybe it wouldn't have been bad. Maybe they would have kept Tiberium and rather thinking of it like as this dangerous thing, which is dangerous, like radioactive as all heck. But um, maybe it would have been different. But for now, we'll talk about how Nod is like structured and how they present themselves and what I think is super interesting about them the most probably. Nod is kind of this almost pyramid esque kind of structure. We have Kane at the top. He's kind of this prophet figure. He's rumored to be like thousands of years old. It's like almost some like an actual being of like old biblical times in a way. He kind of controls everything. He's controlled everything since the first Siberian War. People think he's died like 19 times. He's never died. He always comes back again. And he runs everything. He has this great vision of traveling to where Tiberium came from. And your job as commander for him is just to get him to that point. Um, you go about doing a lot of things for Kane. A lot of it is and would be considered terrorism, which I think is true. I think what he does is terrorism, and it's terrible. Um, but he goes about it to try to kind of show that GDI is kind of weak, that people shouldn't be listening to them. There's a little bit of other stuff, but that's kind of spoiler territory, and I'm not going to really touch it. I want people to really go into this game as fresh as they can, but I just want to give you that push to do so. Um, they kind of specialize a lot more, less into like the wall thing that GDI has, more into stealth, more into um lasers and stealth and this kind of espionage and assassins and commandos that are more stealthy and everything. I think it's really cool. Their designs of everything is super cool. The black and red scheme on everything is amazing to look at, in my opinion. GDI's has this kind of like tan blue, kind of yellowish thing going. I don't prefer it very much, but they can look cool in different colors, which skirmishes bring points. But the point is that uh, Nod is there to be kind of this super counter in a way to GDI. GDI being the rock, uh, while Nod being kind of the lizard that gets underneath and tries to get by that way. Um, they have their equivalencies in their defenses as GDI does. I think they're way cooler. You got the Obelisk of Light, which is by far one of the craziest looking defenses I've ever seen, and I think it. If I could, I would love a little statue like this tall or something of like a little Obelisk of Light. I think it'd be super cool. Um, but uh, they go about trying to show off that Tiberium is not exactly an evil. It's more like a just tool, like a resource that we could utilize and pretty much design the world after it. Um, you go through a lot of missions. I obviously think I beat the game with Nod first time. I didn't beat it with GDI, so I beat it with Nod, and I since then love Nod to no end. Nod has been my favorite. You guys have seen I had like big old banner thing that I got from friends because I talk about them so much. Um, I still have it. I'm sorry, moths were eating it, and I do not want them eating it. Like, I must protect this. Um, but Nod is like the RTS unit for me, I think. I think they're super cool. All their units are interesting. Um, and they just are designed almost perfectly in my eyes. But uh, that's pretty much a lot of it for the faction stuff. Because and I'll talk about Screen a little bit. I think Screen's interesting, but they are designed to be legitimately just kind of references to other aliens throughout media. They have tripods, just like the War of the Worlds tripods and everything like that. That's not to say they aren't cool and that they don't have their really interesting looking little units and everything, but I think they're the lesser of the three. And I think it just happens that they've got brought in midway through. You don't get this like crazy kind of introduction to them like GDI and Nod have had since basically Command and Conquer 1 has come out with like nine in the like late 90s. Um, that's the issue. Those two have been head to head for so long, and people have loved to learn about them and have grown with them over the time. And then Scringe popped in for this one back in 2008. People were like, "You're cool." They're just it's a non GDI kind of thing, and so that's I think what really got them about it. Um, Mechanic wise of this game, by the way, wonderful. Units feel interesting. Commands are intuitive. You could make them do like really crazy maneuvers in a sense. You can make them backpedal and shoot while they backpedal, which is like a really nice thing. It is the pretty standard lot of RTS things, but it just feels real smooth with these guys. Um, Look of the game is top notch. I think the style is so well done because it's kind of this like almost trying to be realistic, but it knows it can't be like 4K realism. Even back then, or even now, I think it probably wouldn't do it. So they just went with like the close but not yet kind of thing. And with that, it made it like such an interesting style. Things looked to an extent real, but not like they were trying to overdo graphical settings kind of thing. Um, it's wonderful. I think anyone who watches my stuff would see it. It's incredible in my opinion. Um, Price wise, I'm sure lots of times it's on sale right now. Especially during the winter time, you got winter sales and stuff. They're on Steam. If you're the kind of person who likes like subscription services to gaming things, EA, they're under EA, which not great, but you can get EA's kind of like Prime thing, and I believe those games will appear under them as well. But I do prefer them on Steam. Get them on Steam. It's just kind of nice having them there in your library. Um, there's physical copies still out there. If you want to look for them, I unfortunately don't have mine anymore. I really have no idea where it went. But the physical copies are still existing. If you want, buy the collection series. It gives you every game in the series. But I don't know if you can play them anymore because they were designed to be on the Origin launcher, and that doesn't exist anymore. It's only that EA Now or EA Plus thing or whatever it's called at this point. Um, but for me, I'll be giving these games courses as I do my reviews of them. For me, 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100, kind of perfect score. You like RTS games? You want cool, intuitive gameplay with these super intriguing designs of units, structures, and powers? Just play it. Perfect. Play it. If you don't think so, I don't think you're wrong. Everyone has their correct opinion of it. Um, for me though, it's perfect. It is perfection. Um, in this, I will be talking about Kane's Wrath, which is its only expansion it produced. There's a single negative I can think of for this expansion. Um, it came out during the time of, my God, my console or thing has to have its exclusive thing to draw people to that console. It had three different things based on what you purchased it on: PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Um, maybe it didn't come out on PlayStation. I don't think it's just PC and Xbox. But PC had this conquest mode. Now, for people who like big map, like tile by tile, strategy by number kind of games. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. The tickle came back. Perfect for you. I'm not. I don't prefer the strategy by number kind of thing where it's just like, put number here, put number there, and it work out. Did it work out? Maybe. You don't get to see it much, and you don't get to really like super play a game. I might like it more now since I've gotten older and played more RTSs throughout time. But back then, oh my god, I didn't like it. The Xbox version came with a Kane's Gauntlet mode where it was like 16 or 20 something different challenges that you had to go through. Pretty much custom skirmishes in a way, like custom challenges. These were so cool. I can't believe that it wasn't the thing that was just shipped with the game permanent for all things. It was so cool. I'm so upset. I don't think you can play it anymore unless you have an original version of it on the 360. By the way, don't ask me about playing RTSs on controllers. That sounds mad to me. But no, that's by far the superior version would be the 360. If you want really the full experience that I think is the highest enjoyability of it, get it on the 360 if you can. Play through Kane's Gauntlets and stuff. That's really cool. But Kane's Wrath is by far, I'm gonna say this and not regret a single word that's about to come out of my mouth. Kane's Wrath is by far one of the greatest DLCs to ever come out for a video game. Ever, in my opinion. I know there's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of really good DLCs that just add like a good amount of stuff to the base game and add some cool things. Nowadays, unfortunately, DLCs are mainly just like cosmetic items, which isn't bad. I don't think it's terrible to have just cosmetic DLCs, but really, really good DLCs are going to be just improve upon game in some manner that offers usually gameplay aspects to it. And Kane's Wrath does it perfectly. If you're gonna play any version of CNC3, Kane's Wrath, just get it. Get Tiberium Wars for the campaign and stuff. Play through that campaign because that campaign is wonderful nonetheless. I still think of it when I was a kid. Like think of back then when I was a kid playing it, sitting in front of my old computer that could apparently run it. I don't know how it did, and just playing through that. That campaign was wonderful. Play it. But otherwise, if you just want pure gameplay, RTS, Kane's Wrath. Everyone will tell you that. At this point, Kane's Wrath is just the ideal Command and Conquer experience, in my opinion. All it did was add in, say all it did, like it was nothing. What it did was it added in a new campaign, like a 15 mission campaign, something like that. It's a fairly lengthy thing. It's like 10, 15 hours roughly. Like maybe not that much, but about 10 hours, I say max, of gameplay that offered the story after or before and after Tiberium Wars. It was really cool. It did like a whole pre-thing, then after thing, which was really interesting. Where you play like kind of a count. You even play alongside missions in Tiberium Wars, and it shows you a new perspective on the mission. And God, that's so cool. That's a wonderful thing to do. That's so cool of them. So it does that. Story mainly, you're a different guy. You're not the commander from Tiberium Wars. You're this kind of built up creation of Kane to do out his biddings, of course. And you were kind of seen as more prized because you're meant to be loyal to an extreme fault. Like you cannot not be loyal to him. So he really likes you. He really wants you to be his kind of little command person. Story is superb, like I said. But the biggest thing, and this is any RTS creators out there listening, it added sub factions to the game. Which, if you're gonna add DLC to a game like an RTS, uh, your biggest thing to think of should be, can we add a new faction into the game? Could we create sub factions of our current factions? Because that is the coolest thing to do in an RTS. Kane's Wrath does it perfectly. You get two sub factions for the three main factions: Scrin, Nod, GDI. The sub factions do feel like the same enough where you enjoy it, you understand it because you've played it before, and so you're not confused. But gives you new units and new powers of that sub faction that give you a new version of it to play in game. It's super cool. GDI gets Zocom, which are like zone raiders almost. They're designed to be Tiberium exterminators who focus more on sonic, kind of sonic artillery, sonic weapons more. So you got your, they added a unit in Kane's Wrath for the standard GDI. It's called the Zone Chatterer, and it's a really cool, like sonic based vehicle. And Zocom just kind of takes that to its core. It is the core of it, is those sonic weapons and the eradication of Tiberium. Very cool. Super recommend Zocom. The other ones are Steel Talons. Steel Talons are wonderful. They go based on more mech based, which is like super awesome. Mechs are always cool. Trading out a lot of your firepower for more mech based stuff. So you're more anti-vehicle. You do still get, of course, a couple of those anti-infantry stuff, but it's not going to be crazy infantry based, kind of, unlike Zocom does. Nod gets two. Nod gets the Black Hand. They are based in flame weaponry. Super cool. They have no air units. Sorry, Venom superiority is not allowed for them. But they get a Purifier, which is their avatar, but with a focus more on the flame tech. Super cool. Other flame stuff is like boosted crazily. They're really cool. The other ones are the Awakened. They are Kane's personal cyborg army. I think if you gotta play a sub faction or any faction, play them. They're so cool. Cyborgs are rad. They're way buff. I don't know why they're so buff, but I'm pretty sure they kind of generate the most damage in the game for the entire faction. They're so cool. Just play them. They're rad. They keep their venoms too, which is awesome. But that's and then lastly, Scrins to Reaper 70. It's numbers. It's a lot of numbers. Reaper 17, Reaper 9, yeah, Reaper 17, I think. Oh god, this is telling you a lot that I'm not like the most into Scrin compared to the other two. Think of them Reaper and Traveler. I'm not going to say the numbers because I don't know. Traveler 17, I think, and Reaper 49. Something like that. I'm sorry for all you Scrin lovers. I'm sorry. I don't play them very much. One of them based around like kind of more mind control tactics or espionage in a way. Their Mando does like group mind control, which is super cool. I'm trying not to downplay them. They're cool. I promise. Scrin is still rather cool, just not as cool to me as the other two. One's all about mind control. I think it's Reaper. Traveler is about mind control. Reaper is about Tiberium, I believe. More Tiberium fusion into their own unit. So you'll see things like their gunwalkers and stuff get like big old Tiberium stuff in their back to kind of overpower them. Super, I like cool. Tiberium is like one of my favorite parts of the game. And I think it's being utilized like that is super cool and should be appreciated pretty well. But Kane's Wrath, like I said, does everything that 3 did, just Tiberium Wars did, just better. It just did everything better. The skirmishes are way funner. I talked about this in the update. funner is a word to me. I know it's not a real word, but I'm gonna use it anyway. It's way better. I promise. Just play Kane's Wrath compared to Tiberium Wars if you just want the gameplay of it. Skirmishes, by the way, are fun little and you versus AI. They're just kind of a way to play the game, get used to it. People play them a lot. Unfortunately, as it's a game that's literally 10 years old, over 10 years old at this point, um, they certainly don't have proper servers up anymore. You're not going to be able to play them on an official setting anymore, like you used to be able to back in the day. So now you're going to have to go through kind of a more funky way. It's not impossible. I promise it's not as scary as it sounds. It's just a few extra steps, and you can play online with friends, or like any people if they so let you. Um, so just know that if you're going to want to do multiplayer, like with friends or against friends or anything like that, you're going to have to do a couple extra steps, and tell your friends that too. They're going to have to do a couple extra steps. Download this like program, CNC you hook in it, but it's like something, a name. Look it up. It CNC multiplayer, and it'll pop up pretty fast, I think. That's unfortunately, I would love it if these kind of games that are dear to my heart would keep their servers properly open forever, where it was like click button, get in game, done. I wish it was like that forever, but I know it can't be. So that's mainly it about my review for Command and Conquer 3 Tiberium Wars and its expansion Kane's Wrath. I'm sorry. I know I'm way all over the place for this kind of stuff. My first time doing kind of a more focused talking video that isn't like a just a gameplay thing. It's just something different that I think I would prefer like creating rather than just like an art like a look at this thing over here and look at this thing over here. Some people might like it. If they do, that's cool. But if they don't, then that's also cool because you're super valid for whatever you think about it. I just think I have some okay opinions about video games because I've been playing them since I probably have been 3 or 4 years old. So I'm knowledgeable enough about video games that I think I could pose some intrinsic knowledge on you guys. For this video, any questions or comments would be the perfect thing to do, as it would present to me what do you guys want to know about stuff, because from now on, any of your consideration into comments, I'll take consideration into me, where I can like, oh, from now on, if I make a review about something, I will know exactly what to do about it. I know exactly what kind of things to put, and that way you guys aren't like being left with like, what about this aspect of the game? What about like how GDI just shoots big old laser beams in the sky sometimes, which actually isn't that far off from what happens, but just tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you think about the game if you have played it or haven't played it. Based on my review or what you've looked up, is it interesting enough to play it? Please tell me it is, because I think it's amazing. But you know, if you don't think it is, perfectly valid too. But it is a game I hold dear to my heart. If you bash on it, I'm not going to be super happy with you. I don't think you're wrong. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be happy, because at least I love this game to death. I can't believe I waited this long to try to get tattoos for it, but I am going to be getting tattoos at some point for this game. This is my first of many reviews. Tell me what you would like me to review next. If I have played it, I'll tell you about it, like my experience playing it. If I haven't played it, I'll look into it and see if I could do a more like standard review of like, what does it look like? You know, it looks pretty cool. It's got this thing over there that does that thing, and that's pretty cool. Or I'm like, you know, it might not be the thing I'm going to play at some point or anything, but, you know, if you like this kind of stuff, maybe it's something you'll like. I mean, just put any of those kind of comments. I'll probably do any of them. I can tell you a couple of the games I'm likely to review next, because I've actually created reviews for them Not long ones, not like, you know, articles or anything about these games, but I've done reviews for uh what's it called? I swear to God, I don't write reviews often, but this is one of them. Um, oh my God, my brain's freezing, like stuttering. Um, I'll think of it. I promise. Organization game that came out recently. You'll likely know what it means by then. No timer, super relaxed, lovely, beautiful game. I will be reviewing it probably when I wake up or something. Um, that one, I'll do Halo. I'll just go through the Halo games as well. I'll try to go through the rest of the Command and Conquer stuff. Strongly worded reviews coming to you for. I hate that game with a deep, deep passion because it harmed the series I hold dear to my heart. I'll do all the Command and Conquers, and I'll even do the other RTSs I may have played before actually on the channel because, you know, I've played them. You've seen evidence of me playing them, so at least you'll know for a fact I played them. Death Space, of course. Uh, uh, Games I'm playing for, like, nowadays I will do reviews for. I'll do them for everything. I'm not kidding. Every single game that I've either played or looked at, I will try to do a review for at some point. But these ones are close because they're in my mind a lot. Make comments, like I said, of what you want to see. I will probably do it no matter what. I'll at some point, nearer than later, likely. If you comment it, I'll do it sooner than later. Is what I'm saying. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's a different thing. It's not super different because I do kind of reviews of games in a different format. This is just a more talky one, and I hope you like hearing me talk because there's gonna be a lot of it. I promise. But otherwise, I like to ask you to subscribe. If you do, I think you're wonderful. If you don't, I still think you're wonderful. So that's completely up to you. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.